Jeff Holder!
All right, how you guys doing? Yes. Great, you guys are here on a great night because, by the way, isn't it nice outside now, finally? Finally, you are watching Fox KRBK, and this is the Mystery Hour, and we have a great show for you guys tonight. We have band leader, actor, music producer, Les Brown Jr. here tonight. He's cool. He's very cool. We also have the music of Yankton Sothern. Yes. And on our team, we have the best crowdfunding site in the world, and it happens to be from right here in Springfield, Missouri. Crowd it. Yeah, I know, it's so great. We loved them so much, we made a little video about them. Check it out.
Have you ever smelled a woman at a brewery tour? I'll tell you what, my wife, she can be a pain. Have you ever had that dream where you're arguing with Chewbacca over the price of a laser gun, and then you wake up and you're driving on I-70? Oh, golly. You, sir, where are you from?
That's right. Crowd it. We love it. Over here, we also have my announcer / sidekick, Dave Smith. There he is.
They make me blush.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you, as do you. I like your hair tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have what I call a swoop now.
Is that the technical term for the wa-la-la?
I don't know.
Forget the swoosh, it's the wa-la-la now.
And you are wearing makeup.
I am, I actually am, and I feel good about it. I'm not, it kind of just smooths everything out and makes me feel more confident. So.
Very good. All right. You know, basically, it's kind of spring break time. Just different schools are out different times. It's the spring break time of the year. Everyone's going to the beach, those lucky fools. And I got to thinking about it, you know. What if you see a mermaid? And all mermaids can't be sexy, can they? So we got a cool video of a mermaid that is not sexy. This is Barb, the unsexy mermaid.
Mermaids have a reputation for being sexy, for being the desire of men around the world. I think that's unfair. Not all mermaids are sexy.
Just those of us who were born lucky.
Hello, my name is Barb, short for Barbara, but you can call me Barbara. This is a message to all you ladies out there who want to be more sexy. You want to be the best? You need to learn from the best. Sexiness isn't so much about looks as it is about having the bottom half of you be made out of a fish. It's about how you carry yourself. I will show you how I walk into a room. My intern Anthony will be acting like he is actually a man in this scene. Here we go. Don't help me! Let's say that across the room you meet a man. Be coy. Let him come to you. You can be sexy without saying a word. Remember, sexiness starts at home. Good hygiene is very important. After scraping off the barnacles, brushing your teeth is a simple and effective way to increase your sexiness. Anthony! Where are my breadsticks? My breadsticks, my Fazoli's breadsticks, the ones I put in my purse as we were leaving. Remember, a physically fit woman is a sexy woman. So head to that gym and start toning your arms.
Anthony! Everything is so far away from me. Why don't you think? My bottom half is a fish.
Now, no one likes to think of their parents being sexy, especially when your mom is a woman and your dad is a carp. But there's a lot you can learn from previous generations about sexiness, like how you can eat both politely and sexily.
Anthony!
Now you have the tools to make every man that encounters you drool. I don't even know where that came out of.
Very unsexy. You'll look at mermaids in a different way. Speaking of looking at the world in a different way, it's time for Things I've Noticed.
These things I've noticed. These things I've noticed, yeah.
Yeah!
These things I've noticed. These things I've noticed, yeah.
Yeah!
These things I've noticed. These things I've noticed, yeah.
My swoop is out of control. All right, things I've noticed. Maybe you guys can understand some of these. I've noticed that there are 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and untangling headphones. I've noticed that I'm a pretty good Samaritan. I don't pay people's parking tickets, but I do take tickets off of their windshields so they don't feel bad. I've noticed that every time I fall down, I hope that I happen to get the perfect chiropractic adjustment I needed. I've noticed that someday I want someone to say, "Classic Jeff, always planning ahead." Won't happen. I've noticed that if you have an allergy to apples, it has the opposite effect on the frequency of seeing the doctor, as the classic saying goes. That one's hard to follow. And finally, I've noticed that my smart son talks in what others call an incomprehensible babble. I prefer to call it Mandarin Chinese. He's smart. Things I've noticed.
These things I've noticed. These things I've noticed.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break. When we get back, Les Brown Jr. will be here. Stick with us. Those commercials were hilarious. It's time for the guest. That means it's time for the great guest sponsor. Our guest sponsor tonight is indeed Crowded, the best darn crowdfunding site. It's even crowdfunding in all of the universe. Our guest tonight, I'm very excited to have him on. He's lived such an interesting life. He is a band leader, he is a music producer, he was an actor, he does all kinds of things. Please give it up for Mr. Les Brown Jr. How you doing?
How you doing? Good.
Have a seat.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know how to work a room.
Hey, I was taking a nap back there. This is great. You woke me up. I appreciate it.
Was that a diss on the first part of the show?
Not at all. No.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I feel like giving people like an overview first almost, because you've done so many different things. People may think, oh, I told him that guy, or they may like, I know his name. What's he from? Tell people what.
Well, okay, where do I start? Let's
Exactly.
See. My dad was a band leader, in the big band era. Les Brown and the Band of Renown. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Come on, you guys aren't old enough to remember that, but you might remember his singer. Her name was Doris Day. And yeah, Doris, and she babysat me on occasion too, So I've been around the entertainment business my whole life.
Yeah.
And I started as a musician, going on the road with the band. They worked with Bob Hope for about 51 years. So
Yeah, they weren't just any big band. Like they were huge deal.
Yeah, they were really. It was kind of interesting, for me, finding my identity because I'm Les Brown Jr. So people knew me all the time when I was a little kid. Oh, you're Les Brown Jr. I go, what did I do? I didn't do anything, So anyway, I'd go on the road as an actor. I later became a singer with the band. And then I decided I wanted to be an actor. Try that, And I got very lucky, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I was in my early 20s, and I got a part on a show called Death Valley Days.
Okay.
If you remember that. And that led to another part on a show called The Gertrude Berg Show. And so then I got a call from my agent, and they said, they want you at CBS, and you're going to be reading with 3 different ladies, and bring a bathing suit. Okay.
Which is what we told you to come here.
Yeah, exactly, right. Fortunately, I outgrew it. But anyway, so I went down to CBS, and I read with the 3 ladies, and they had one of these fake beach sets and everything. And so next thing I knew, my agent called and said, you got it. And I said, got what? What was I reading for? And they said, well, a contract player for CBS. I said, wow, what does that mean? That means you get paid every week, whether you work or not.
Yeah.
And my dad said, I hate you. But the thing was, I did work every week. And
you were on
everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I was on My 3 Sons numerous times, Ensign O'Toole, Gunsmoke, Rawhide, Gilligan's Island. It's funny, that's the one everybody always remembers, Gilligan's Island, And I was one of the Mosquitoes, the rock and roll band that landed on the island. All right,
Yeah.
It was great fun.
How did you guys get off the island?
Actually, they didn't have cell phones then, but we had a little signal, because what happened was we were on there. Supposedly, we thought the island was deserted, and we went there to write and rehearse our songs for the next album.
Okay.
And the girls spotted us, the 3 girls, and they became the honeybees. And they did a concert, and we saw it, and we said, we can't compete with them, so we called the helicopter, and they got us out of it.
Nice. Good storyline.
Yeah. But then, after that, I went over to ABC, and I did a series for ABC for a while.
Yeah.
And then I got back into music, and I always loved music. So I went back in primarily as a record producer.
Okay.
And I was the head of production for a company that had a lot of the English bands, like Jethro Tull and Traffic and those things. So I kind of oversee all the record productions for them.
Yeah.
And it kind of mushroomed from there, and I stayed in that business. I went back to acting actually for a minute and a half. Well, it was a little long. I ran into a guy named Marvin Page, who was the casting director for General Hospital.
Okay.
And he said, why don't you come over and have lunch? And so I went over to have lunch with him. And I walked in and to his office, and he said, hey, would you do this? I'm trying to figure out this part. Would you read this part with me? And I said, yeah. So I read the part with him. And he said, how would you like to come back on the show?
You were that convincing.
Well, I don't know if I was convincing or not. He may have set it up for all I know. I don't know. But I played a character called Sanderson, who was the head of the WSB, which was like the CIA. And I was on the show for about 1.5 years, and I never smiled once. Well, actually, I did once, and it was the only time they stopped the tape in all that time. And
Can we have a no smile off? Let's look. Yeah, let's look. No smile off. You're way better. You're way better at it. You are way better. And I'm also interested because then at a certain point, you took over the Band of Renown, and
I did,
you became the band leader. How did that transition go? Was that hard for your dad?
No, actually, well, a great story. Because he called me up. I was doing productions. You know, I worked with Bob Eubanks. And Bob and I had...
Were you on Mr. Belvedere?
No.
Okay.
Was he on that?
I think so.
No, he was the dating,
I'm
newlywed game.
I'm thinking of
yeah.
someone else.
Okay, so.
We'll edit that
But he
out.
was also a concert promoter. I mean, he brought the Beatles to Dodger Stadium and stuff. So I was doing production for him, you know, just overseeing production of all the acts that we had, like Sly and the Family Stone, Loggins and Messina, country acts like Merle Haggard and stuff. So my dad called me, he says, you know, our production thing is a little stale. Would you come in and kind of bring it back into the, you know, the next century? And I said, yeah. So I came in, redid lights stuff and sound cues and all that stuff for him. And he said, why don't you come back and sing with the band for a little while? And I thought, that'd be fun. So I sang with the band for a little while. Anyway, we were on a cruise. And, you know, Dad was getting on. He still loved what he did, but he talked to me on the cruise and he said, you know, he called me Butch. He said, you know, Butch, have you ever thought about taking over the band when I retire? I said, no, I didn't think you'd ever retire. And he says, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about it. And I said, well, I have a lot of stuff to do. Let me think about it, and I'll get back to you. And he said, okay. So 3 or 4 days later, we're still on the cruise, and I'm talking to him again. I said, you know, Dad, I've been kind of thinking about what you mentioned about taking over the band, and I think I'd like to do it. And he looked at me and says, over my dead body. But anyway, it did run smooth, and it got to the point where he could do what he wanted to do, but I told him, look, it's your band. If you want to come back and be on one of the shows, I step aside, you do the show. If you don't want to, I'll be there and I'll do the show, and that was the transition.
And now you tour some?
We did a show in Branson for about 4 years, and right after that I went on the road, and the last couple of years, well, I did a TV special that I wrote and put together with Neil McCoy, who's a great country act. I don't know if you know him, but he's a terrific entertainer. It was called Country Meets Big Band, and we did it for PBS. And I started a record label up in Branson, and I produce, you guys remember the Letterman? Yeah. Oh, now you're dating yourself, you know that, okay. The Letterman and Shirley Jones. I did a couple albums with Shirley Jones there, and did about 7 albums in all up in Branson. So that's what I've been doing lately, and I just told them to start booking a tour for 2015.
All right, very good. Well, we appreciate you having your tour stop by here for a minute.
I will.
There he is, Les Brown Jr.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, that was great. I was a Nick at Night junkie when I was a kid. Yeah. So like all those shows you on, I just watch all the time. Tonight's musical guest brought to you by Crowd It. We're back. For the first time, we're back. Hey, we have a great musical guest tonight. You guys are going to love him. Give it up for Yankton Sothern. Yankton.
Will you wave your flag high and proud after Daddy's buried deep in the ground? Do you know who you when you're free from daddy's Christianity. Hope it's been so hard to find. Faith just seems so ridiculous. I've been through worse, but can't remember when. And then she says, I hope I never see you again. You never knew how to love me, but I can't say you never tried. You can't say you never lied to me, and I can't say I never cried. Well, hope it's been so hard to find. Faith just seems so ridiculous. I've been through worse, but can't remember when. And then she says, I hope I never see you again. Well, I'm no angel of mercy, but I thought I would save you. You don't have to be a prisoner of daddy's Christianity. Well, hope it's been so hard to find. Faith just seems so ridiculous. Well, I've been through worse, but can't remember when. And then she says, I hope I never see you again.
Thank you. Great job, sir. Thank you very much. That was great. We hope to see him again. Hey, it's been fun. You guys, this was a fun show. Thanks for watching. Up next is another fantastic show, and we'll be back next week. See you guys. Catering for the show brought to you by Big Whiskey's Restaurant and Bar.
Good night. Sleep tight.